Hey, you guys. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new here. We're going to be talking about Teen Mom stars Catelynn, Baltierra, and Caitlin and Caitlin. Caitlin. Caitlin and Tyler. Um, as we all know, so much has been happening lately, and it sucks because we are hearing podcasts that were filmed back in November and December, but we're just now hearing them, so we all have something to say about them. And also, leaks have been coming out of their biological daughter, Carly. It's just kind of a mess right now because Caitlin and Tyler, as we all know, they got pregnant at 16, put their daughter Carly up for adoption. They chose a more conservative religious family, Brandon and Teresa. They wanted a family that, the mom was a stay at home mom, that they had Christian background and values. That was something that Caitlin and Tyler spoke about on the show because they wanted parents for Carly that were completely different than like their parents, basically. Brandon and Teresa, obviously, like they don't struggle with addiction, and just reading their profile, you see them jet skiing and out at in Aspen, like what's it called when you're going down the snow, whatever. They had a great looking profile where it looked like any kids that they had would just thrive and have a great life with them. So Caitlin and Tyler chose Brandon and Teresa. And for the first few years of that adoption, we did get to see a little bit into it. Brandon and Teresa appeared on the reunions. They invited cameras into their house. And we got to see Carly up until she was like 4 or 5 years old, I do believe. I don't remember the exact age, but at some point, this was their normal. Coming to the reunions, allowing cameras into their house, or they would film and it would be shown at the reunions. But at some point, they decided they wanted Carly to have a normal childhood, not in the spotlight. Probably when it became apparent to them, like, okay, like this show is continuing, it is extremely popular, and we don't know how much longer it's going to carry on, but we want Carly to have a normal life. We don't want her picture to be out there. We don't want, we want to stop that while she's young. That way, when she's 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, whatever years old, we won't have to deal with the public hounding her. So they decided to keep her private. And I want to say something because keeping someone private means like you as your parent, you kind of dictate where they're allowed to be. I guess I'll get into that more later because it would make sense if I touch on it later. Either way, after they made that decision, Tyler posted a picture of Carly, which was something that they normally were allowed to do. And he was contacted by Dawn, and Dawn was like, take the picture down. Teresa and Brandon no longer want her pictures to be posted publicly. You guys have a large following. And at the time, Tyler was upset about it. He was like, what? No, like that's ridiculous. And this had been their normal. So I could kind of understand. Me and my husband talk about this a lot. My husband, he's more into reality TV shows now than he was back in the day. So I can talk to him about this. But at the time, for 5 years, this was their normal. Caitlin and Tyler got to post pictures. They were never told they couldn't. They were on the show. So there was a moment where he posted a photo that Brandon and Teresa had decided we don't want them to post anymore. Like we can put her out there if we want to, but we want to be able to decide. But Caitlin and Tyler have a much larger following than Brandon and Teresa. Brandon and Teresa probably have private accounts where they only have their friends and family members on them, right? Whereas Caitlin and Tyler, they are followed by millions of people. So they was like, no, like stop posting. We're not going to have her picture out there. We're not going to have her videotaped for the show. And from that point on, if Carly's voice was heard, it would be altered. So you could not really tell that it was her. So you did not know what her voice actually sounded like. And they would only get her from behind, right? It has been over 11 years since she has been posted publicly up until the other day. And this is so extremely sad because Carly is 15. She's about to be 16 in May, I do believe. I know there was someone that reached out to some creators behind the scene with the photo of Carly, right? Because someone got in touch with me, someone got in touch with reality TV with Ray and was like, um, "Hey, did y'all see this photo? Do you know if Caitlin and Tyler have seen this photo?" And I was like, "I don't know. No, I've never seen it." And there was not even a thought that I was going to leak it. There was not like, "Oh, I got this photo. Let me post it on my social media page." You know what I'm saying? Like, I never even considered that because, like, hello, if Brandon and Teresa do not want Carly's biological parents posting this photo, what would make me think that I had the right to? Nothing. Nothing in a sane person's mind would tell you that you have the right to post that photo if her own biological parents don't have the right, right? So there was not a thought, whatever. However, it was like the next day after it wasn't the next day, it was like a week later, I think. It was like a week later that the photo came out, right? And the photo came from her school page. So Carly is like involved in like track or something, I believe. And it was like, so the school page, you can go to the school page and it has these links to take you to other like track, softball, whatever. And it was a photo associated with like her account for her sports or whatever, her track, whatever. It was of her and Teresa, and people started posting it like wildfire. I was actually shocked. I did a live about it because I was shocked to see these pages that do constantly talk about Caitlin and Tyler. And one of their arguments is Caitlin and Tyler won't stop posting pictures of Carly, even though Brandon and Teresa asked them to, not to. And I'm like, now here you are posting her photo. Well, maybe Brandon and Teresa haven't asked you specifically not to post it, but if they have kept her out of the public eye for 11 years and they don't let Brandon, if they don't let Caitlin and Tyler, I'm sure they don't want you to do it either. And then their argument was, well, it was on social media. And they tried to make people believe that it was like on Facebook, which I will say this, even if Carly had a private Facebook account, even if her parents have her on a private Facebook account, that does not give us the right to get it and post it. Because I'm just thinking about it like this, like I'm a nobody. I'm not some celebrity, but I am like, I guess you could say like a social media influencer. I don't know. Like my husband says that because of like I have several videos on TikTok that have over 1 million views. I probably have like 10 videos at this point that have over 1 million views. I have 60,000 followers on TikTok. I have 40 some, almost 50 on Facebook, and I'm almost at 100K here. And I have haters, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I just think about it like this. I keep my children off my TikTok account, my Facebook account, my business Facebook account for my LB channel. I keep them off here. If my kids come in, I usually mute. If they walk in, I'm like, whoa, 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 stand back there because that is my right. And I don't want to put them out on social media. However, on my private Facebook page, hell yeah, I post my kids. I'm proud of my kids. I love posting my kids to where my family can see it. I have a sister that lives in Delaware. I have a brother that lives in Washington. I have nieces that don't live here. So, like, I want, I have friends that I never get to see. So, like, when my daughter graduated, pictures galore. Did that mean because they were on social media, somebody could go and get them? No. And anybody that has that argument, I would just ask them to think that way. Say anybody that has that argument, say you decide to post a photo, or say you decide to record a TikTok, it's a funny TikTok, and it goes viral. Say you have a TikTok account right now where you post a little videos, you got maybe 10 followers, but you post a video and it goes super viral. You got 5 million views because it's a great funny video, right? And you decide, oh my goodness, like I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna be a TikToker because I just grew. I mean, if you have a video that gets 5 million views, you're gonna gain followers. You're probably gonna gain enough to become monetized. So say you decide, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna start recording TikToks and maybe I can make some money off of it. So say you do that, but you don't want to have your kids on social media because you know the dangers of the internet. You know people are not nice. So you're like, I'm gonna be a TikToker, but I'm not gonna put them on there. Say a year or two later, you are sitting at 100,000, 200,000 followers on TikTok, but you've never put your kids on there because you want to protect their privacy. Well, then say some of your followers have heard you talk about your kids and they get nosy and they want to know what your kids look like. And you have a private Facebook account where you post pictures of your kids and they go find that Facebook account and then they get photos of your kids. and they start making videos and putting your kid's photo out there. Just because Carly may have a Facebook, just because Brandon and Teresa may post her on their private Facebook account, it doesn't mean we have the right to get it and post it somewhere else. Not at all. Just because she's adopted and just because her parents want to protect her privacy, that means she's not allowed to have a social media. Oh, you can't have a social media because, if you have social media, we can post your picture everywhere. No, I don't like that argument. It doesn't even make any sense to me. She is absolutely within her right to have an Instagram account, to have a Facebook account, and it doesn't mean we can take her photos. Either way, just think of it like that if that is your argument. But that was the argument of these teen mom pages. Oh, well, it was on her social media account. And I'm like, girl, it was on her school account. It was on her school account. Like it wasn't either way. After that, I received an email from someone else. It was a link to a video of Carly singing. And they said, so I come across a TikTok video where this girl was exposing stuff about Brandon, his LinkedIn, his, where he worked, the church that he's affiliated with, whatever. And I decided just to do a little looking. I just wanted to do a little bit of digging. But the reason I decided to do this is because I was scrolling TikTok and came across this TikTok where this girl had all of Brandon's info out there. So I just decided to look up the name of the church that he is affiliated with. And lo and behold, videos, Carly. And then I just thought, oh, wow, I wonder if Catelynn and Tyler have seen this, because this is an avenue for them to be able to see Carly. The adoption is closed. So let me see if I can get in touch with them to send this to them. That person had no intentions of sending it to anybody else. However, that person did contact me and one other person. I don't dig into private people's lives, Lachey, whatever. I don't dig into private people's lives, and there's certain lines that I'm not crossing. But if you're on reality television, yeah, then if you get a divorce, I may cover your divorce. Yeah, if you got court for strangling a child, I'm going to talk about it. Guess what? I'm not the only one. The Ashley, the son, all of them will too. If you're literally getting a divorce and you're filming the fact that you're getting a divorce to put on your reality TV show, don't be shocked when creators pick that information up first and they put it out there first. People have been on TV for 10 years. Yeah, but I'm not digging into private people's lives. I'm not digging into Brandon and Teresa's life. That TikTok person that did that with Brandon, in my opinion, should be reported because that is doxing, in my opinion. Either way, we continue to be clear what they want. I do, yeah. I do wish they would come out and say something like, we are not happy with these photos out, or we don't mind. We're not happy that somebody found the videos of her singing at church. So can you guys please stop sharing them? Or we don't mind. We're proud of her and we don't mind, whatever. So that creator, it wasn't a creator, messaged me, was like, can you find out if Catelynn and Tyler know about these videos? I'll send them the link, or you can send them the link. And I was like, absolutely. So, I messaged Catelynn, asked if she knew. She said, yeah, we knew about that. How did you hear about it? And I was like, somebody emailed me, and she was like, do you think that person's going to share it with anybody? Like put it out publicly? And I was like, no. And she was like, okay, good. I don't want this to be put out publicly. And I was like, no, I don't. The way the person talked, they only sent it to me and one other person, and I don't think they're going to put it out publicly. Well, lo and behold, the next day, it was out everywhere. The other person that they sent it to runs like a T page, and it was posted there. And it's literally, videos of her singing at church, pictures of her from church, and I can tell you guys, these people are making a lot of money. Thank you, Kelly. It's okay. I don't even remember what you said. I don't remember what you said. I've been getting a ton of comments lately, people coming at me. So if you say something on my page and I kind of come at you rudely, and maybe you didn't mean, and maybe I took your comment too far or whatever, just understand, like, here lately, I mainly get a lot of, like, good comments, like, 99.9 is, like, good comments, but for some reason here lately, I've been getting, like, a lot of nasty comments. And it has really made me feel like, you know what? Screw this. I'm going to defend myself. So it's fine, Kelly. I don't even remember what you said. I do remember there was like where I typed back to you, but oh, it was about Ryan. It was about Ryan. Okay, I do remember that. Hopefully, I didn't come off too cranky, but I've been getting like some hate because people don't like the fact that people say they feel like I take up for Caitlin and Tyler too much. I feel like I have like a balance of seeing both sides. People say that I take up for Mackenzie and that I bash Ryan and Amanda. So people don't like that. Yes, Jamie, that's right. So, anyways, the videos and the pictures got leaked, and there's been so many rumors going around that I know I understand. I've been having bad days lately too. I did not go looking for the video, but I did see it on TikTok. It felt wrong ever watching it. Absolutely. Absolutely. I will tell you, I do know that some people are reporting any page, any video, any TikTok account that shares her picture. I do know that there's people in the background reporting them. So if you are a Facebook creator, Team on fan page, Team on T, Leah Messenger's fan page, because all these pages share the photos, just know that you like, because I've talked to people and I see other comments where people saying they're reporting it. You don't want to lose your whole account because you're being reported. Like, I know you made a lot of money off the photo and you probably don't want to delete it, but if you get reported for like posting photos of a minor that's not like a public figure or doxing someone or sharing personal information, like you could lose your Facebook account for that. You could lose your TikTok for this. If a certain, the right amount of people report you, you could lose your whole page or you could lose monetization. So just consider that. The fact that you have her picture up, know that I know for sure people are reporting these accounts. Either way, yeah, I do. I see both sides of it. Like I'm glad that Ryan and Amanda are doing great and they're sober, but I also remember what he done and I just can't get over that. Just like that. Anyways, you guys. So we're gonna read Tyler's response because okay, so it's being said that Tyler and Catelynn orchestrated this, that they purposely had these videos leaked and the pictures of her leaked. And I'm like, that's dumb. Like, could I say maybe Catelynn and Tyler constantly talking about Carly is what pushed people to dig and then the wrong person? Because I know, I've talked to people, I've seen comments from people saying, well, I found that too, but I wasn't going to share it. I mean, there's probably people in my chat that had found the photo of her at school already, but did not share it because I can understand us being just like a little nosy and being like, oh, I wonder what Carly looks like. And if you have like an avenue to be like, oh, well, I know she lives here and I know they go to a private school. So let me see what private schools there are. Oh, there's only these many private schools. Let me check this private school. Let me see if this private school is on a Facebook and has a Facebook page. I can understand like one part, like just being curious to see if you could possibly come across. Because yeah, we did get to see her until she was like 5 years old. I can kind of understand that. What I cannot understand though is when you come across that photo, sharing it publicly, because posting Carly's photo on one account, that's what's going to happen. It's going to spread like wild, and it did. Within hours, that photo was everywhere. And I'm telling you, there are Teen Mom fan pages that made thousands of dollars off that photo, off the photo. And Catelynn and Tyler have reached out to these pages and asked that they take it down. But they're probably not going to want to take it down because they're making money off of it, you know? Right, right. Being curious is not an excuse to go and blast it. Exactly. Like I'm not gonna I'm not gonna say you're a weirdo for looking for the photo, but I am definitely gonna say it's crazy that you shared it. Either way, Catelynn and Tyler, they responded to this because, like I said, there's a narrative put out there that Catelynn and Tyler because they closed the adoption, they wanted to like stick it to Brandon and Teresa and be like, look, we still have access to see her, you know, which makes no sense because Catelynn and Tyler's not taking credibility for this. They're not taking accountability. They're not saying we leaked them, so that they're not sticking it to Brandon and Teresa at all. If they leaked them to stick it to Brandon and Teresa, they would be like, we leaked them. We had access to it. B said, I am. They're weirdos for searching for a minor child's picture. But anyways, well, I mean, B has her opinion. But so I don't think at all that it doesn't even make any sense that Brandon and Teresa would be behind the leak. I mean that Tyler and Kate. I've seen people accuse Caitlin and Tyler of being behind the leak. There's also this like theory going around that there's text messages between Tyler and other creators where he's instructing them to like leak these photos. And I'm like, well, show that. Show that. I also encourage every creator, whether you're a TikTok fan page, whether even if you're just a random on TikTok, make a post. Say where you got it from. Say, oh, I'm a random TikToker and I got Carly's pictures from here. That way, if it did come from Tyler, we could find that out. I don't think for a second that it did, but any page that shared it, I am asking you, tell us where you got it from. If somebody just dropped it in your inbox, tell us that. Somebody dropped it in my inbox. No, it wasn't Tyler. Because, oh, and Brandon and Teresa are being blamed for this as well. Literally, people are blaming Brandon and Teresa, Caitlin and Tyler. When in the end, in my opinion, I think it's just people being curious, looking it up, and then certain type of people, once they found it, was like, "Ooh, I'm going to share it," you know. So I would love for people to tell us where they got it from. Either way, it makes no sense to me that it would be Brandon and Teresa when they have tried to keep her private for so long. It makes no sense to me that it would be Caitlin and Tyler when they knew about these videos. They knew that her church went live every Sunday, and some Sundays she would sing, and that's at this point that's the only avenue they have to see her. So why would they risk losing that? Now they have to go another 2 years with possibly not seeing her at all because she may not get it back up on that stage and sing if Brandon and Teresa don't want her to be put out there for everyone to see, you know? Either way, this is what Tyler had to say. And then we're going to read an article from the Ashley's Reality Roundup. All right. And let me read what Team on Chatter wrote. Team on Chatter wrote, okay, in my opinion, Tyler Baltierra is being too chill and addressing people now. Oh, okay. In my opinion, Tyler Baltierra is being too chill and addressing people who are now sharing Carly's Sunday service videos just a week after people dug out her athletic profile picture. So hand me the mic. Y'all are effing weird. So many people claim Caitlin and Tyler are using Carly for clout to stay relevant when the truth of the matter is Carly is a part of their life story, so it's you. The people sharing the pictures and the videos are the ones using her for clout, and it's creepy. And it is you all who are liking and commenting and clicking and sharing it that are giving that creepy clout to them. So if you bash Caitlin and Tyler and claim Carly is their rise to fame, but entertain Carly being shared against her parents' wishes by weirdos who prove that they will do anything for a like, even go against parents who wish to keep their daughter private, you're literally just as weird. Well, I do know after the photo was leaked, after her sports profile photo was leaked, it was taken down. By the next day, somebody messaged me and was like, "Did you see it was taken down?" And I was like, "No, I didn't see that." And they sent me a screenshot where it was taken down. And I was like, "That's sad." I mean, Teresa and Brandon may be trying to figure it out because it was leaked last week. I don't think she's saying this week. Was it leaked? Yeah. So they may be trying to figure it out, and they may decide to speak to the other deacons in the church and say, hey, can y'all take those down? Take the ones down of Carly. Or they may feel like they don't have the right to ask that. I don't know. And they may just say, moving forward, you can't sing. Or moving forward, if you sing, the cameras are not allowed to pan to you. I don't know. I guess, you know, there'll be any changes that are made, it'll come out. And my thing is like, my church films their service. And I'm like, could you imagine, like, say I go on to have 500,000 subscribers one day or 200,000 on TikTok. I don't know. Dreaming big here, guys, but just say I go on to have a ton of followers, and my daughter, who is 7, say in a few years she decides she wants to sing at our church. Am I going to tell her, no, darling, you can't sing at our church because it's live stream? And I have a little bit of a following, and I don't want weirdos to find you on the internet and think because we live stream our church service and I allow you to sing and I allow it to go up on our Facebook page and our YouTube channel, that means they have the right to share that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, because my church literally Facebooks theirs, and they may have a YouTube channel too. I don't know. But if my daughter decided she wanted to sing, I wouldn't even think to tell her no because it's on the internet. I would not think that because I wouldn't assume that people would do that. It makes no sense that people would. Anyways, let's read what Tyler had to say. All right, so Tyler says, to say I'm disappointed is an understatement. It's literally heartbreaking and sad that people are still continuing to share pictures and now videos of Carly. And this is very true what he says here. The same people and pages who brutalize me and Kate with daily cruelty and hate for just speaking about our adoption story publicly are now participating in sharing her actual picture and video publicly. We haven't shown her face in over 11 years because that's what her parents wanted. And now all of you are just doing it without a care in the world. And it's truly devastating. So they have not shared her face. They haven't posted a picture of her face in over 11 years. Catelynn and Tyler haven't. They have shared photos of her back, which was something they had permission to do up until like the last time they did it. And then, according to them, Brandon got upset because they posted it before it could go up on the show. And so it was not going to be like an exclusive that MTV would pay them for. But up until that point, back shots were fine to post on their social media page. Anyways, all right. I'm beyond heartbroken for Carly and her parents. If this is something that they truly didn't want. Every Sunday, I would watch that morning service, that morning worship, hoping and wishing I'd see her beautiful face and voice that day. I would watch in silence, through tears, and feel so much joy in my heart. And I made sure to keep it private to myself. It was special to me. Those Sunday mornings were all I had since our parents closed our adoption. And I want to comment on this too because we don't know how Tyler and Catelynn come to know about these streams. Maybe it was something that they knew about. Maybe it was something that Brandon and Teresa shared with them a while back when things were fine. Sean says, what if it was set up by Brandon? And see, I don't think like that. I don't think like Brandon and Teresa or Catelynn and Tyler care that much about, pissing off the other side to post Carly publicly, knowing how the internet is. Like if it was something minor for them to do, then maybe. But I don't feel like Catelynn and Tyler would. I don't think Catelynn and Tyler would want to like throw it up in their face so much to put her out there like that. And I don't think Brandon and Teresa would care that much about Catelynn and Tyler to do that either. Like I'm sure their feelings are hurt and they may feel some type of way, but I don't think they would. I don't think it would be at the expense of putting Carly out there for the world to see publicly. All these Teen Mom pages, posting her now and comments are made about her. Like, I don't think they would do that. I think they might would do something else, but maybe not that. Like, I think that's a little extreme, but that's just my opinion. Oh, but I will say, we don't know how long Catelynn and Tyler has known about these streams. We don't know if this was something Brandon and Teresa told them about in better times. Like, hey, she sings sometimes at church. Or maybe when she first decided to start singing, maybe they were doing decent. And Teresa texts Caitlin and Tyler, like, hey, Carly's going to start singing at church. Here's the link. You guys can watch. We don't know, because a lot of people are turning this into something like, a lot of people are people are turning this into something creepy. And they're like, Tyler is like being creepy, stalking Carly. And I'm like, dude, I know this is not his daughter. Like, I know this is not his legal daughter, but she is still his biological daughter. He did still watch her. He watched Catelynn give birth. He did spend those first few days with her. He held her, and he has love for this child. And they never wanted the adoption to close. They always thought they would have some sort of access to her, to have like those yearly visits, letters, be able to send gifts. Now they don't have that. So I do not think it's weird or like creepy that biological parents are watching their biological daughter stream, like sing on a stream. As a matter of fact, I actually know of a story. Let me see if I can figure out how this is how okay. I heard it a long time ago, but there was a man that had a daughter. The daughter did not know that she was his daughter, but he knew. She became a bank teller, and she worked the window at a bank. So he went and started a bank account at that bank, and he would do all his business. Like, he would go to her. He would go to her window, or he would go in, like, and that was his way to see her, because like he hated how everything went down. And she ended up finding out that was her dad. Actually, she did like a 23andMe DNA thing, and she found her dad, and she knew who he was, because he was one of her like customers, and he was like, that's why I was a customer, that's why I started banking there, that's why I was always going to your window, because I just wanted to see you. I didn't want to completely miss out on you, like seeing you. Or he was like, I already missed out on you growing up. I didn't want to completely miss out on seeing you. So that was the only way that I could see you. So I do not think that's creepy at all. Like, for any person to say that it's creepy, they are not thinking about this in the correct context, in my opinion. Like, when I say, I get this a lot, like, well, that's his daughter. People want to say, that's not his daughter. And I'm like, legally, it's not. You're right. And that is what matters most to me, is who raised you, who was there putting you to bed at night, fixing your meals, working hard to take care of you, who was the one that kissed your scrapes. Absolutely. Those are your parents, and they deserve that title. But there are your biological parents that are still your biological parents. And yeah, they did not raise you. So they don't, it is a difference. It is a difference between your parents who chose you and worked for you and took care of you and did all those things, but your biological parents, they are still like, that is still their daughter. And all, like, if you look it up, the internet's gonna tell you that yes, she is his biological daughter. That is their, whatever. So when people say that, I just feel like I get what you mean, and I agree to an extent, but this is not like some stranger watching a 15-year-old sing at church that is going out of his way every Sunday to watch her. This is not some stranger. This is a man that this is his biological daughter. That while they did not have a super duper close relationship, and he did not see her every day, he did not see her every other day. He only got to see her once a year. They only had, phone conversations and letters and whatever. Their relationship was very minimal compared to what she has with her parents. Absolutely. But to act like there's not, Catelynn and Tyler are some type of weirdos and are being creepy to watch her, I think that's letting people, I think people are letting their hatred for Catelynn and Tyler, or their disdain for them, or their aggravation at them, I think they're letting that get in the way of them, like, really thinking rationally. Because I'm like, come on, can anybody not see why he would want to do that? They did not want this adoption to close. They never thought that it would. Could it be because of some of their actions? Absolutely. As years go on, things happen, And something happened that Brandon and Teresa was like, we're closing the adoption. However, when they handed that baby over, they did not know that would be their future. When they're handing that baby over, they're thinking, we will get to see her once a year. It's okay. We're going to get to send gifts. It's okay. We're going to get pictures of her. It's okay. We're going to get letters. It's okay. Like, she's not cut off from her life. And she wasn't. She was not cut off from their life for many years. So they do have some sort of, they got to see her yearly. So anyways, I just think it's just disingenuous to act like he's like some creepy weirdo. Like, come on. No. But that did kind of get to me here, reading those words, that he sat and he watched, hoping every Sunday that he would get to see a glimpse of her. Because I'm just trying to put myself in his position, and it like broke my heart. I'm like, could it be that, these pictures were found on account of like people constantly hearing y'all talk about the situation? Sure, absolutely, possibly. However, this doesn't change that this upsets them that this has happened. You know what I'm saying? This is very true. Yeah. I mean, honestly, at the end of every visit, he seemed emotionally more bothered than Catelynn. Like, Catelynn held her emotions pretty well at the end of visits. Like, Catelynn would be the one consoling him at the end of the visits. How did he know she's saying? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if someone told them. I'm not sure if Teresa told him. And that's information we don't know. Like, everybody want to say, like, it's creepy. But what if Brandon and Teresa told him this years ago? Like, what if this was something that Brandon and Teresa knew that Tyler watched because they told him about it back when she first started singing? We don't know this. Yeah, I definitely didn't know she could sing, but she can. And I hope this is not taken from her. All right, so let's continue. I know everyone will blame me and Catelynn for this, but just remember, we're not the ones who have posted her. We're not the ones who leaked her photos or videos. You all have. And this is the sad irony here. You all should be ashamed of yourself just as much as you claim to be ashamed of us for whatever reasons you decide. You're all adding so much more unnecessary heartbreak, and I don't understand why. Is being cruel to us daily not enough for you? Is hating on us for speaking up as birth parents not enough for you? Is hating on us for talking about adoption not enough for you? I choose to take the brunt of all of the hatred and cruelty over and over again if that meant stopping you all from doing this. And I do believe that. Like, I do believe Tyler's like, whatever, hate us if you want to, but please stop sharing our pictures. Because now her parents are going to be even more restrictive, possibly. All right, let me continue. I'm going to continue reading this, and then I'll jump in the chat. All right. You all should be ashamed of yourselves just as much as you claim to be ashamed of us for whatever reason. You're all adding so much unnecessary heartbreak, and I don't understand why. I already read that. Is hating on us for talking about the adoption not enough for you? I choose to take the brunt of all the hatred and cruelty over and over again if that meant stopping you all from doing this. But apparently, even hatred isn't enough for you. And in this moment in time, I really wish that it was. All right, so I'm going to jump over to the Ashley's Reality Roundup because there's an article that she put out. It is about the podcast that was revealed like end of November, early December. So since then, I will say since then, Catelynn and Tyler have said like they are not going to mention like Brandon and Teresa and Carly. They're just going to talk about their adoption journey. They're going to try to stop, and they ask for people not to mention Brandon, Teresa, and Carly like in their comment section. So they have changed the way they're doing things since they said this in the podcast that was filmed months ago. Catelynn and Tyler criticized parents of bio daughter Carly for agreeing to adoption terms that they did not want. Their whole goal was to get a baby, which I do think that's the goal in an adoption. Married couples that can't have babies, they suffer. Like, some people suffer for months, years with infertility before they decide, well, let's adopt. So then when they decide, well, let's adopt, I think people do kind of want to run. And listen, I probably should not even speak on this because I don't know. But my theory is, and not for everybody because all situations are different, but I feel like there probably is those times where, married couples, they deal with the infertility for years and they try for years and it doesn't, they can't have a baby. So they decide to adopt. So then when they make that decision to adopt, they kind of want to move it along pretty quickly because they've been wanting a child for so long. And, they're like, we're getting older. We've been trying to have a child biologically for 3-4 years or 2-3 years. So let's just adopt. We'll get a baby and we'll love that baby and that baby will be our baby. But once they decide that, like, there's probably those that just like, let's get it done quickly. So maybe they have what they want set in mind, like, well, I want to close adoption. But then when the counselor comes to them and they're like, well, we have a young couple, but they want semi-open. I'm sure there are those that's like, okay, then, well, that's fine. We'll do semi-open because just the thought of going ahead and having that child excites them. And I would compare it to a situation, but I don't want people to get it confused that I'm comparing it to. Actually, no, I'm going to go ahead and compare it. And it's not the same, but it's just like kind of the way you will let go of what you initially thought because you want something so bad. It's like if you want to go get a car, right? And I'm not comparing a child to a car. Don't take it that way. It's only how you will change your mind on things when the idea of, well, if I accept this, I can get that. Or if I don't accept this, then I got to keep on this journey, right? So say you go to buy a car and you're like, you know what? I don't want my car note to be any more than $600. But you find the car that you love. You're like, man, I love that car. You test drive it. You drive it to your house. You show your kids love it. And you go back and you start doing the paperwork. And you don't want your note to be, what did I say? 600? You don't want your note to be 600 max. But they run your stuff and they're like, well, your note's going to be 850. And you're like, well, I really didn't want the note to be more than 600. You know what I'm saying? And they're like, well, this is the lowest we can do. So you're like, man, you look out there because the car dealership, the glass, it's just glass, it ain't no walls. So you look out there and you see that car and you're like, I've been wanting a new ride for a while and I love that ride. So I know I did not want a car note more than 600, but man, I could say yes and drive off in 20 minutes. So you're like, you know what? All right, fine, whatever. So that's what I'm saying is like when you want something and you have like how you want it to go in your head, but then when it's there, you change for that. So I think that's what Catelynn and Tyler's saying. Like they want to close adoption. Brandon and Teresa made it known to Dawn that they wanted to close adoption. However, Dawn still had Brandon and Teresa fly out to meet Catelynn and Tyler, and then was like, oh, by the way, they want semi-open. So they're like, well, we're already here. And we got so excited thinking, we were going to come here to meet a couple that wanted a closed adoption, but now you tell us they want semi-open. But fine, whatever, because that's what happened too. So from what I was told is Brandon and Teresa want to close adoption. It was well known they want to close adoption. However, once Catelynn and Tyler picked them, Dawn called Brandon and Teresa and was like, we have, 2 teenagers, girlfriend's pregnant, and they're due at this point. They chose y'all. We sent them home with profiles and they chose y'all. When can y'all meet? And they're like, oh, we can go next week. Okay, well, yeah, sure. Come next week. They had to fly in, from my understanding, from what I was told. They fly in and then they're told, then Brandon and Teresa are told, oh, they want semi-open adoption though. And Brandon and Teresa's like, well, we want it closed. I know, but they want semi-open. Oh, and there's cameras in there filming. So they're like, Brandon and Teresa literally found out right before they met Catelynn and Tyler that Catelynn and Tyler did not want to close adoption and that Catelynn and Tyler were being filmed for an MTV documentary. So what were they supposed to do at that point? Like, what were Brandon and Teresa supposed to do at that point? Turn around and leave? I guess they could have. I mean, they could have. But they have flown here. They were that close. So they were like, okay, that's fine. They should have never been matched. That's the problem, is they should have never been matched. Maybe Melissa. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, let's not speculate about Tyler's sexuality. I don't care if he is. It doesn't matter to me. Like in your home, if you want to talk about it with your spouse, but social, like on here, like I want to leave that kind of, you know, out of the picture, you know. Um, okay, so let's read what they said on a podcast that was filmed a few months back. Catelynn and Tyler did not hold back during the most recent episode of their podcast, striking out at the parents of their biological daughter, Carly, for seemingly saying whatever they needed to say to get the Teen Mom stars to allow them to adopt Carly in 2009 birth. During the last episode of their podcast, Kate and Ty Break It Down, Catelynn and Tyler spoke out about how Carly's parents, Brandon and Teresa Davis, were willing to change their initial adoption terms in order to ensure that they could adopt Carly. Tyler added, I think the whole goal was to get a baby. And let's be real, the whole goal when you want to adopt is to get a baby. I don't think that's a negative thing. You know, like, oh, well, we want to adopt. Well, yeah, what's the goal? Get a baby. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't take offense to that, in my opinion, because it's like today somebody on my Facebook page was like, "You're just grabbing at the headlines," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's what I do. I search for headlines and then decide if I want to do a story on it. It's like legit. Like, yeah, when you want to adopt a child, that's like the goal is to adopt. You know, you're looking for the baby." Um, Tyler added, "We were kids listening to the adults around us." That's so true. BNT didn't have any clue that Catelynn and Tyler were going to stay on TV for 15 years or even stay together. A lot of times, this statistically, um, they don't stay together. They don't get married. The parents, like the bio parents, end up kind of fading away, and the adoptive parents are the only ones, you know, taking care of the child. And the dad, for sure. This was mentioned on an episode of Teen Mom, the reunion, is Dr. Drew like applauded Tyler because he's like, you are the exception. Because this statistically speaking, teen pregnancies, the dad doesn't stick around. They don't go on to get married. They don't go on to have more kids. Statistically speaking, like they jet out quick, you know. And so he was like, "Good job, Tyler." And so I don't think Brandon and Teresa even knew that they would stay together or that the show would carry on. Like Kate and Tyler didn't know either. True story. None of them knew this. Absolutely. Um, all right. So we were kids listening to the adults. Here is a photo of Kate and Ty after she had Carly. As fans know, Carly was born in 2009, and her birth and adoption was featured on Kate's 16 and Pregnant episode. Last year, Kate and Ty's relationship with Brandon and Teresa soured to the point of the couple cutting off communication with the Teen Mom stars altogether. Since being blocked from Carly's life, Catelynn and Tyler have been very vocal on social media about their unhappiness with Carly's parents, as well as adoption in general, claiming that it is literally buying babies. I have I have a question. Okay, I've seen a lot because I have kind of like started following adoptees, adoptive parents, bio parents. I've started following a lot of them on TikTok just to hear more about this because I know nothing about this. I'm not adopted. Uh, I don't know. I feel like I can't really have an opinion because I'm not adopted. You know, so um, I follow some adoptees on TikTok that say this. They're like, it's literally buying babies. So you in the chat, what do y'all think? Do you think it's fair to say that adoption is buying babies? Let me know. Tyler went on to discuss how Brandon and Teresa were initially purchasing, pursuing only closed adoptions, but eventually agreed to open adoption when Kate and Tyler changed their mind from wanting a closed adoption to an open one. According to Tyler, Brandon and Teresa did this to make sure they didn't lose their chance to adopt Carly. I have seen that. I'm glad you brought that up. Grace Report did a video on the post where they put price tags on. Yes. So this is true from my understanding. I've seen this post as well where your race and certain factors play into how much your adoption will cost, right? Which is well. I'm waiting to hear back from her. I probably need to email her again. I know we all get busy, and I did email her, but she hasn't responded. She's probably busy. So I need to email her again to see when we're going to do that. Freddie says, as a person who has given my child up at 15, I could not imagine putting my child's parents on blast or the child on blast. It's also very inappropriate. And you see, the thing is Catelynn and Tyler, they're like, up until very recently, they're like, we didn't say anything bad about them. You know, they're like, it was only after they closed the adoption that then we started like putting out our feelings and saying the things that would be like negative or whatever. But they're like, because I've seen this comment, I've seen them address this comment. Like, y'all talk so poorly about them. They're like, what are we saying that's bad about them? They're like, up until recently, we really didn't say anything. Like, we kept it like, oh, everything's great, you know? All right, let's continue. Okay, Hold My Foot says, Hold My Foot, I love that. I normally see Hold My Beer, but Hold My Foot. I'm a birth mother, so I feel for Kate and Tyler. And I think that's why there's so many opinions is because like I have nothing to do with it, but I'm a mom of 6, so I try to put myself in everyone's position, which is why I'm kind of like all over the board with things. But then I'm like, if you're a both birth parent, you probably can understand Caitlin and Tyler. If you're an adoptee, depending on how your adoption played out, you could side with either one of them. You know, if you are an adoptive parent, I mean, I've read from adoptive parents like Caitlin and Tyler's your worst nightmare, but I've also read comments from adoptive parents that is like, we have a great relationship with our child's biological parents. They come everywhere with us. Like we have holidays together. Like the more to love our child, the better, you know. Um, so it's literally just like about like your experience, I guess, and how you can relate to the situation. And if you can't, trying to put yourself in their position, I guess to form your own opinions. All right. If you were an adult and you knew what kind of adoption you wanted, I think your responsibility should have been to say, this isn't a good fit for us. We want closed adoption, he said. The fact that you shifted your desires to get the baby is selfish to me because I feel like that automatically shows that you weren't planning on doing what we agreed upon. Brandon's like, you said what? He looks so serious. Tyler also expressed that, in his opinion, Brandon and Teresa took advantage of the fact that he and Caitlin were only teenagers at the time of Carly's adoption. There were 4 people involved in this adoption agreement, and 2 of them were children, and 2 of them were adults, Tyler said, adding that he feels Brandon and Teresa should have been honest with them and disclosed that they initially wanted a closed adoption, not an open adoption like he and Caitlin wanted. And I will say, I don't mind sharing pictures like this because these are photos that were already out there that Brandon and Teresa approved. You will not catch me. The photo, even the photo on my thumbnail, is not Carly. I just literally Googled like 15-year-old tall blonde girl singing at church. And then I blurted and put leaked photo. Like, so the photo on my thumbnail is not her. Look at that. Oh my goodness. Bye, Hold My Foot. Have a good night. All right. During that podcast episode, creator Jordy Cray asked Kate and Ty if they think ranting about the adoption and Brandon and Teresa on social media will make the situation between the families worse because Kate and Ty have now involved the public. And Caitlin said, our main goal for putting stuff out publicly was because if Carly has a chance of being able to see that we never stopped trying, she deserves to know that, in my opinion. Also, it brings awareness to everyone who is involved in adoption. Also, it's given a voice for adopted kids. But I can see where you would think that, where you would think that them speaking out makes it worse. I think it's the agency that has it. I don't think so. Like, if parents come to the agency and they're like, well, this is what we want. We want a white child, a black child, an Asian child, whatever. And or we want to adopt from this area. Um, I think the agency itself is who has the price tags, if that makes sense. So when they have a couple that want this specific, they're like, oh well, this is what we charge them. All right, let's continue. Um, Caitlin also stated that although Brandon and Teresa won't tell them if it was them or Carly who wanted to cut communication with Kate and Ty, she firmly believes it wasn't Carly who asked for it. We don't have anything to lose. And I truly, in my heart of hearts, do not believe that it's Carly that wanted this separation from us, Caitlin said. For you as a parent to allow your insecurity and this fear to trump the best interest of Carly doesn't make sense to me. And that's also not what we wanted and not what we agreed upon 15 years ago, Tyler added. We were supposed to be a team. So you can listen to the full episode. Also, tomorrow another episode airs, and I think it will also have Jordy Cray on it. I think he's in two segments because I saw Kate, Ty, and Jordy share a clip, and it said it drops in Patreon tonight. So usually they drop in Patreon an episode the night before, and the next day they do the episode. So I'm going to be listening. Look into it, Sharon. I've looked into this adoption agency. Many people have. Actually, the reason I looked into it is because on Reddit there was a whole post of that went through Bethany Christian Services. And I started looking into it, and then I found how there's been lawsuits. Like, listen, I I'm not feeding into nothing. Actually, on this video, I'm not even blaming the agency per se. I'm just saying it's come out that they have price tags. And this has come out by people that's done the research. It hasn't come out yet. Did you get to listen? Yeah, that episode hasn't come out yet. So, I mean, if you look into Bethany Christian Services, you'll find all the horror stories and how they've been sued and all the crazy like people that um I mean girls that have come to them and they're like, "Oh, we'll do this for you. We'll do that for you. We'll do this for you. We'll put you here. We'll do this." And then the girl like changed their mind and the way they treat them or the way they've been lied to. Like, first off, Dawn, in my opinion, crazy stories. Dawn absolutely um she was the adoption counselor, agent, whatever she is. But Dawn knows because this is what she does for a living, and she did it for years before she worked with Caitlin and Tyler and Brandon and Teresa. She knows that open adoption is not legally enforceable in the state of Michigan. That should have been the first thing she told them. But you want to know what she told them? When they sat down, she said, "Well, what do you guys want? Like, what's your idea of how you want this to go?" And Caitlin says, "Well, I know that I want to be able to send gifts, and I know I want to see pictures, and I know I want to be able to see letters." Yeah, Dawn is like a military recruiter, exactly. She was like, because I know I'll do that. I'll do that. I'll every year, at her birthday, I'll be like, "Oh, gotta go shopping for Carly." And Dawn's exact words to her was, this is your adoption. You are in the driver's seat of this adoption. It will go the way you want it to go. That's what Dawn told her. Dawn did not say, "Well, I'm going to be honest with you, Caitlin. We will have a contract that you will sign here where you and the adoptive parents will enter into an agreement. And that agreement can be what you want. However, once you relinquish your rights to that baby, when you go to court 30 days after you have that child, and you relinquish your parental rights and they become her legal parents, they never have to speak to you again. that paper that you signed in our office, it's good as trash. It is trash. That's what she should have told them. She should have told those two 16-year-olds that, I mean, you literally, Catelynn has said that Dawn told her, oh, if you want to change it, if you decide you want a closed adoption, if you decide you want to change it up, you can change what you want with this adoption as many times as you want up until you have the baby and we're doing the paperwork in the hospital. Why were they not told that? Why did Dawn not tell them that? Why did Dawn, Catelynn and Tyler, who were very vocal about the fact that they wanted semi-open adoption from jump, right? Why were they sent home with profiles of a couple that wanted a closed adoption? The only profiles they should have brought home should have been from couples that wanted a semi-open adoption, and that would have possibly helped this situation. But I'm not trying to make any situation worse. The only adoption agency that I know much about is this one. I have a whole video about it because I've done my research. And on the video, I show things. We read articles, we read things about this particular adoption agency. And all I said as far as the prices is I saw that. I saw the prices. I saw, now, could it be that somebody made that up? Sure. I just saw it. It makes sense though. And actually, there was an adoptee on TikTok that shared it, or Instagram that shared it. But it would make sense that they would do that. That this type of baby with this and that and this and that would, you would have to pay more for that versus, maybe a child with a disability or something. Like, I could see agencies doing that. Absolutely. So I don't think I'm a part of any problem. I think it needs to be said because I think that's where change needs to come in. And that's why I'm all for Catelynn and Tyler bringing awareness to adoption, because there are 16, 17, 18-year-old ladies out there, young women out there that will be pregnant, are pregnant, that are considering adoption, that may just come across a podcast of Catelynn and Tyler's or a TikTok of Catelynn and Tyler's and find out that the state that they live in, open adoption is not legally enforceable. And they may be in the middle of thinking about adoption. They may be pregnant and maybe in the middle of thinking about adoption. And all they know about adoption is, oh, well, you can make the contract how you want it. If you want to see your child twice a year, or if you want to be able to get pictures, write that in your contract. We'll have them sign that. Everything's fine. You can decide how you want this adoption to go. Adoption is love. Adoption is great. That may be all they've ever heard about adoption is it's great. It's love. It's, you can decide how you want this to go. But then they may come across a video of Catelynn and Tyler's or some adoptee out there who's also bringing awareness. And they may hear, hey, open adoption is not legally enforceable in most states. So if you want to put your child up for adoption, make sure, like, if you want an open adoption, make sure you live in a state where it can be legally enforced, or know that there's a possibility that it will not be open the entire time, that they can close it at any time. Or what else had I brought up about it? I just had a brain fart. Yeah, their parents would not sign the paperwork. They had a guardian ad litem that the day they went to court, so Catelynn and Tyler had the baby, and they had decided to change it at the last minute to make it more open, because Dawn told Catelynn and Tyler, y'all can change it as much as you want. So after she had the baby, they decided they wanted to go from like semi-open to open adoption. So they added more things to the contract. It's no good. And everybody signed it in the hospital. However, Catelynn's mom would not sign it. There's a whole clip where Dawn comes in the room and she's like, April, I need you to sign this paper. And April's like, nope, not going to. And she walks out. And April says, y'all ain't needed me for nothing. You have talked to them two kids this entire time about everything concerning this adoption. You ain't needed me for nothing. Now you want me to sign it? I'm not signing it. So what happened? They wasn't allowed to do the trade-off on property grounds. They had to leave the hospital, go across the road where they gave Carly to Brandon and Teresa. Brandon and Teresa had to stay in Michigan for 30 days, and they had a court date where they went before a judge. From my understanding, right before their hearing, they met with their guardian ad litem, who she was like, "Hey, I'm your guardian ad litem. I'm going to be representing you at court today. You guys understand you're putting your baby up for adoption? Yep, we understand that. Okay, whatever. I don't know exactly what was said to them, but from my understanding, it was like a quick thing. Like, I'm going to be representing you guys. You guys know y'all are doing that. Nobody's forcing y'all to do that. Are y'all being paid to do this? Whatever." And then they went up before the judge, and the judge, "Y'all want to put this baby up for adoption?" "Yes, we do." "Y'all want them to adopt the child?" "Yes." Catelynn and Tyler's parents. Is there anybody here that objects? Catelyn's mom, April, and Butch stood up and they objected. And they were like, "We're the grandparents. We want to take the baby home with us." And the judge was like, "Say what?" And they're like, "Yeah, this is our grandchild, and we want to take the child home with us." And the judge was like, "We don't have grandparents' rights in Michigan. So the parents want to place a child up for adoption. They have a guardian ad litem here representing them on behalf, for them because y'all wouldn't. So no, they're gonna go ahead and relinquish rights. And Brandon and Teresa, they're going to step in as her legal guardians." And that's how it went. No, they can't do anything legally because all that matters is legally they relinquish their rights. As far as what happened at the adoption agency, that's why that agency has been sued. I mean, maybe they could do something as far as the agency is concerned and how Dawn straight up like misled them and lied to them and wasn't honest with them and made them think that that paper that they signed was like legally enforceable. Like maybe something like that. I don't know, but no, they're not going to do anything. And Catelynn and Tyler even said, like, even if they could, they wouldn't do that. They would never like take out legal action against Brandon and Teresa because that would really make things worse. And they don't want to do that. But right, bottom line is who's leaking Carly? I want to know. I am literally any page that has shared her, make a post and say, "This is where I got it from." People are blaming Brandon and Teresa. People are blaming Catelynn and Tyler. Let's find out. Let's find out. I know it came in my inbox. It was not from Brandon and Teresa or Catelynn and Tyler. I was actually asked, "Can you get this to them?" I want to see something. Let's see. I want to see how many. I'm not going to show it on my thing because it still got the picture of Carly up, but I want to see how many comments. Wait, no, I can't see that. Okay. I was like, "Oh, can y'all see that?" Bear with me, besties. You guys are my best friends. Where is it? Okay, here it is. April 4th, one page posted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 photos of Carly. And it has 4,000 reactions, 204 shares, and almost 2,000 comments. I wish I could figure out how much they made off that post, but it's only been up for 4 days. And I would venture to say, well, I can tell you they made a few $100 minimum. I know that just because like some of my pictures will make money. Not all of them. I don't understand why. Like I got demonetized on like videos, reels, and some photos. So I don't know why. I was going to compare it to one of my photos, but everything was blank. But I would not be shocked to say that these pages made a couple grand on just Carly's pictures alone. I have that shirt. All right, let's see. Where's the other one? Come on. And like I said, Catelynn and Tyler have posted that they have messaged all of these pages and asked, "Will you please remove this photo?" And none of them are responding. Okay. The one that was posted on the 28th has 16 1,000 reactions and 5,000 comments and 767 shares. Oh, I wish there was a way I could figure out. Let me see. Okay. I'm going to write this down. Bear with me. 16K reacts. I want to see if I can find a post that has share. I'm writing on the back of my hand. I'm going to see if I can go into my back end to find like a photo that makes money, which most of mine don't for some reason. None of my videos are real to at all. All right, let's see. Bear with me, guys. I'm trying to see if I can get any like idea of how much they may be making off this. Okay, this is one that I made money on. Let me go see. Let me compare it. What is that? Teen Mom. Okay, let's see. What day was that? I'm so sorry I'm taking so long, guys. The 6th. Okay. Okay, so there's one on my page about kale. Oh no, it went off. And her, it really. Bear with me, let me find it again. Okay. On April 6th, I made a post about what Teen Mom Chatter posted on IG about Kale and Elijah. And I have 120 reactions, 147 comments, and 7 shares. 120 reactions from mine to their 16,000 reactions, 147 comments to their almost 5,000 comments, 7 shares to their 767 shares, and I made $34.88, which is not a lot, but I have way less. I mean, oh my goodness, I just did that again. I clicked on it again. Why did I do that? $34.88. 34.88. Almost $40 when the difference is astounding. 147 comments is what I had. So what you're getting paid for is the engagement on it, right? So I got 147 comments. They have 5,000 comments, and I made $34.88. So I mean, and they have multiple pictures of her up now. So they're making hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on this. I would not be scared to say that. I wish I could like really calculate it, but that's the only way I know to like kind of compare it. She does have a beautiful voice, yes. I just don't think they thought about it, you know. Like because I was thinking about myself, like our church streams our service. I'm on YouTube, I'm on TikTok, and I'm not a celebrity. I know that. Can a YouTube account sue or do copyright strikes? As far as what? Because yeah, I mean, you can copyright somebody. Anybody can be sued, but like for what action? Yes, the admin of the page, whoever runs the page gets the money. So I'm just thinking. You know, if my daughter decided to sing in a few years and I have way more followers, but I have haters, and listen, I don't really have any creator haters anymore, but I used to, right? And literally, I had a creator that would talk about how I abuse my kids. Literally, he literally did videos about how I abuse my kids and how cops have come to my house and like all kind of stuff, right? So say I still had that crazy YouTube hater. He's kind of fallen off because everybody knows he's a liar. But anyways, I didn't share it. So I was just no, I didn't share the photo. I was just saying like, here's a picture I posted that made money, that was monetized, and I made $34.88 on it, and it only had 147 comments. Meanwhile, theirs had 5,000. So that's going to tell you there that they made way more. You know what I'm saying? Let me see. Wait, that's not right. Yeah, that's the wrong one. Hold on. 147. $4.32 per comment, I guess you could say. That's right. That's not right. I'm doing that wrong. Oh, so like, say I did share it on my page and somebody else shared it? No, because so on Facebook, no, the copyright content. Oh, so yes, the actually, this is a good idea. I'm glad you said that. The original YouTube channel that streams the church services, they own that copyright of the video. So yes, they could go around and any other YouTube channel that shared it, they could hit them with a copyright strike. They could report them on TikTok for copyright. Absolutely. Yes, you are correct. I'm glad you said that. I did not understand it first. But yeah, the church absolutely can file for copyright infringement. 100%. Yeah. Yeah. Right. I don't think they were expecting people to be lunatics. Because y'all, this is 15 years. This is 15 years later. Nobody has dug into Carly. You know, she's been known since she was born. And when they shut it down years ago, when she was like 5, everybody respected that. Nobody was like, "Oh no, we're still gonna try to find her." You know, like we're still gonna keep an eye on your social medias to see if you post her, and if you do, we're gonna blast it to the masses. No, they have lived like while Caitlin and Tyler has talked about their adoption and their struggles with them and everything, they've lived a relatively like themselves a quiet life with nobody digging into them really. Yes, Caitlin and Tyler have talked about them and the adoption, but in 15 years, nobody's dug into them per se, not like this. So they probably did not expect it to happen. So when their daughter came to them and was like, "Hey, mom, I want to sing at church," they were probably like, "Oh, that'd be great. You have a great voice. Absolutely. Use it, you know?" And when she was up there on that stage and it was being streamed, and I know my church, like they stream it for people that can't be there and to introduce it to other people. You know, if you're scrolling through Facebook and you come across a church service, that's what we want. We want you to stop and be like, "Oh, let me listen." And maybe you're not sitting in church because you're sick or maybe because you're not a believer, but you come across that and you stop and listen and maybe it'll change your life. And maybe you know what I'm saying? So like that's why it's shared. It's not shared so people can stalk other people. It's not shared so people can find it and then send it other places. Someone tell them to go copyright strike all those people. Honestly, like, yeah, if I was them just personally, I would be reporting all these pages myself personally. Like the TikTok creator that had Brandon on there, like literally Brandon's like LinkedIn, and below it, it was like the church that he goes to, like phone number, email, like all this stuff. Like if I was Brandon, I would go and I would report that. I'm not like yeah, I was on TV for a short period, but I'm not a social media personality, like I'm not a celebrity per se. And I would report that for sharing private information because that is an option when you go to report. When you go to report, it does say for sharing private information. Anyways, you guys, we are at over an hour, but Do B&T even know what's going on? Like they don't talk to C&T anymore? Would someone tell them? Oh, I'm sure somebody's told them. I'm positive. Yeah, I hope they let her sing. And if they don't want her face out there, maybe blur it. I don't know. But I hope they don't take that away from her. The beer virus? Was it Bud Light or Miller? Just kidding. No, it's sometime this month. I am going to be keeping up with that though. There is a video of her. Yeah. I don't know if they're doing anything to stop it. I guess we'll just have to see, if she's not allowed to sing anymore. They clearly have a way to put like a splash screen up while the audio still plays. Yeah, they could do something like that. I think that's why Brandon and Teresa anticipated this would happen, though. That's why they kept it open. They knew fans would have a field day if they closed it. And Catelynn has said that. Catelynn has said, I think us being on the show has kept it open for as long as it has. Because I think they knew if it was closed, yeah, something like this could potentially happen. Yeah, exactly. I know, right? What I can see people saying this. I can see people saying like, "Oh, I'm going to go to their church." I mean, it's open to the public. Yeah, it's open to the public, but you're going to be weird. Like you're not going to church to praise God. You're going to church to get a peep at, you know, Carly. Like I would not be shocked though. Definitely something that, yeah. Our church has security at the doors. They have security at the doors. So the way that this happened is the church streams it to their Facebook page, and they also have a YouTube channel that they stream it to. Um, and someone found that. Somebody found that and shared it publicly, and everybody has reposted it. So that's how it got out. Anyways, you guys, I just hate this whole situation. I do not think Tyler's weird for watching the Sunday um, services. I would probably do the same if it was my child, my biological child, and things went sideways with me and her parents, and I knew I could not see her if it was a way for me to see her. As long as he's not like commenting and being like, "Tell my daughter I love her," like as long as he's just sitting quietly and watching, I don't think it's a problem. I think now they're doing what I think they should do is just only talk about adoption in general, maybe their experience, but no longer, I know that's my daughter on stage. She gets her voice from me. Ha. Yeah, just sit silently, watch, whatever. But I think, limiting or not talking about Brandon, Teresa, and Carly, asking their followers not to do that. And they've established an email account where they will write to that account, send photos to that account. That way, if Carly ever does come to them and say anything, why did y'all stop trying to see me? They could say, well, no, we didn't. Here's all the letters we wrote, or whatever. I think that's the best thing they could do at this point. I really do. And I hate that it's gotten to this point. I think it sucks for everybody involved. You know, you never who you are. Well, I didn't even think about people. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I mean, if this was y'all, you know. Anyways, you guys, leave me your thoughts in the comment section below. Like, share, subscribe. I will be listening to the podcast episode that drops. And I want us all to keep in mind that this was filmed months ago. Hopefully, as we move forward, their podcast episodes will be more about adoption in general. I do know they have an episode coming out with an adoptee or with a few adoptees, which is going to be very interesting. I cannot wait to hear the segments where they talk to adoptees because that's who I really want to hear from. I want to hear from the adoptees. But Tomorrow, we're going to listen to the episode, and then we'll probably do a live where we go over some of the stuff that was said. So just make sure you are subscribed to the channel if you guys want to be here when we do that. If you want to be a part of it, be in the chat, listen together, and share your thoughts and opinions about what's said. But yeah, hit the thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe, follow me on my other social media platform, and I will see you guys. What time is it? Probably tomorrow. Bye, guys.